Hello, everyone. I'm here with Jennifer. As always, we're talking about tons of exciting things. Actually, one of the hottest trends of the year. But before I go there,
Uh-huh.
Jennifer, how was your weekend?
It was great. It was
Yeah,
beautiful, beautiful weather, nice and relaxing.
you
How
went
about you?
to you went to a wedding,
I
didn't you?
did,
How was
yeah.
it?
It was great. It was a very late night on Saturday, but it was worth
Oh,
it.
all right, all right, all right. I'm always curious what a nutritionist eats at a wedding. Like, it's like,
A
like?
little bit of everything.
Oh, okay, but
Yeah.
do you do like moderation, or you don't take it really easy?
It depends. It depends what there is to eat. You know, you go to some weddings and they give you a tiny little plate of food,
Yeah.
and then you're starving and you eat a lot of cake. Or is that just me? There's plenty of food at this wedding, which was good.
I don't know. Everybody has their things, and like I love like savory food. So we did
Yeah.
this event over the weekend in Texas, which was amazing. By the way, if you haven't been to Texas, you have to go. Have you been or not?
Yeah,
Yeah?
yeah, yeah. Dallas, Austin.
Yeah, we
Love
did
it.
an event in Fort Worth, and it was amazing. It's one of my favorite places. There's this beautiful square called Sundance Square, and
Yeah.
they have this pavilion, and we did an event for all of our influencers in the area and our customers. So tons of people showed up. I had no idea
Nice.
how many fans we had in the area. It was really, really nice to see everyone. It was a beautiful lunch we organized. And what we did was really cool. We had the lunch inspired by all the ingredients of Flatter Me. So there was like papaya, pineapple, all these kind of things in the
Nice.
decoration, in the recipes. It was just beautiful. It's like I was blown away, and I loved. Everybody's so warm and friendly there.
Oh,
I
I
had the
love
best,
that.
best weekend ever. So I'm now back here,
Yeah.
getting over the mini jet lag. It's not too bad, but but it was really, really fun.
Nice.
I'm curious, like, since like events, and like we're going into like holiday season now as well.
Yeah.
Like, how do you handle all the stress over the holidays?
Oh man, I a lot of it's just mindset, I think. You know, you just have to kind of have a good mindset and plan. I'm a big planner. I have all of my lists, like what am I bringing to my friends
Yeah,
Thanksgiving?
yeah, I can
What
see
are all the
that.
gifts?
I
Like
can
I've
see
got
that.
all of my like lists and
Do you,
organization.
do you get
So
stressed at all, or not really?
yes and no. I don't know. I feel like I've gotten better as I've gotten older about managing stress at the
Well, how,
holidays.
how does Jennifer manage the stress over the holidays? I'm
Oh
just curious.
gosh, just yeah, kind of the continuing habits like we were talking about last time, like just sort of trying to continue those habits that you form throughout the year to deal with stress and try to not let
Come on,
the
you must get
hecticness.
stressed out once in a while.
I like a little bit, but
No?
yeah,
All
I
right,
mean, well,
all
then I
right.
have like a glass of wine if I need to. That's
Okay.
there you
Any
go.
any any
Yeah.
any supplements one can take to calm things down a little bit?
Yeah,
Do-
I love our ashwagandha calm gummies.
Okay.
L-theanine, that's my go-to for relaxation, and I will pop a couple of those.
That's
if
awesome.
I'm
But
if
we're
I
not talking
need
about
it.
stress, but we're talking about the holidays. We're talking a little bit about our really hot topic of the year. And then tell me a little bit about, like, for this wedding, for example, do you
Mm-hmm.
think about like taking like a berberine beforehand or not? I'm just curious whether that's something you
You
do.
know, this one I didn't bring any berberine to take beforehand. That was probably a good idea. I probably should have done that. I took Flatter Me with me.
Okay.
So I brought my Flatter Me extra strength. It's an Indian wedding. Lots of good heavy food,
Amazing. I love Indian food.
beans. But yeah, I took my Flatter Me extra strength.
Yeah, I used to
right
live in
when I
London,
started
and they
eating.
have the best Indian food there. It's like it's so good.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's before we go into the hot topic of the year, let's do wellness trends. What's trending at the moment?
Do it, yeah.
And what's your yes and your well know this week, Jennifer? I'm curious.
Let's see. My well, yes, is 10,000 plus steps a day.
Oh, really? Okay, cool. You do that?
I try to.
Yeah.
I have my little app on my phone, and I go on my hot girl walks. So I don't bring my dog with me because he slows me down because I need to like get in all those steps.
Well,
But-
you're like my mom. She does at least 15,000 steps a
oh
day.
my gosh, good for
And she's turning 84 today. So it's like, and she's still doing
Wow.
it. And she's very fit and very healthy. Honestly, it's like
Aw.
whatever she does, I'll be doing because it really works. She doesn't go to the gym.
Yeah.
She just does her 15,000 steps a day, eats in moderation, and it's in great health. So real inspiration there.
Yeah, it's great. Walking is a great exercise.
How about your well
Yeah.
know?
My well know is a little teaser to our topic today. So it is doing a GLP-1 drug like Ozempic or Wegovy, Mounjaro, one of those sorts of things, without doing any lifestyle changes accordingly.
All right, I'm intrigued. We'll talk about that later.
Yes.
Well, like yes, it's definitely sleep maxing because I travel a lot, need to get through time zones for work, etc. And like just like getting sleep is so important. I wake up every day at the same time. It's almost spooky.
I'm
but
the same. It
it
stinks.
it is like
It's annoying.
it is annoying. It's well, it's part of the perk of aging, I suppose. But I think the one thing I learned those before was really like, okay, I have to sleep at a certain time and I have to wake up at a certain time. And I was really like obsessive about like, especially when I travel through time zones, like getting used to the new time, to the time zone. But I always like feel now just when I'm tired, I just take a nap. It really helps me like, feeling more refreshed. So that's my big yes this week. And my well no is actually wearing a glucose monitor. I mean, I love data and I think it's a really powerful thing.
Yeah.
I just don't want to have stick that in me right now.
Have you done it?
No, have you?
I have some at home actually
All right, well,
that I need to try.
Okay. Okay, well,
They're sitting in a drawer.
okay,
at my
maybe that's
house.
your well yes.
Yeah.
In the next episode. So like,
I want to try
now
it.
try those. Okay, that's awesome. I love that. Let's talk about the topic of the day. I mean, obviously, this is a wellness blog, and everybody's talking about GLP-1s. I just looked at some data, and basically, Google searches are through the roof. They tripled over the last year alone, and already last year they doubled over the prior years. So it's like, I mean, they're up 500% in the past 2 years. Everybody's talking about GLP-1, and I was blown away by the amount of people who search directly for it. But for those of us who don't know what GLP-1 is, let's start there maybe for a second. What is GLP-1?
So GLP-1, it's short for glucagon-like peptide 1. And it's naturally made in our bodies in response to food that stimulates the specific L cells that line our gut and our intestines. And it's naturally released in response, in particular, to different types of food. You'll release more GLP-1. And it's one of the hormones that our body naturally makes to help us prevent like overeating and to feel more full with food.
So it's like almost like a little signal to the brain saying, hey, you don't have to eat anymore. So, and is that why it's working so well? Because
yeah.
Okay,
exactly.
cool.
Yeah.
And
It's pretty cool.
And is that also the reason why everybody's talking about it? Because clearly, if it weren't working as well as it does, it wouldn't be such a big hit. But like my question was like, I looked into this one. It has been around for some time, hasn't it? It's not like something brand new.
No, it's been around. I think it was, I have my numbers somewhere. Sometime in I think like the 1980s is when this hormone was discovered. And then the first drug for type 2 diabetes that came out, that was a GLP-1 receptor agonist drug, meaning that it affects those GLP-1 receptors, came out in the like early mid 2000s.
Okay.
So it's not super new of a thing.
So what happened?
Yeah.
What happened? Why is it now a huge why is it having a moment?
I would say a couple of different things. So the older drugs, they helped with glucose regulation, and they also helped people lose weight. So like when I was working as a diabetes education dietitian, we had people on this drug, and it was great because they would lose weight pretty rapidly in addition
But they
to managing
didn't
their
take it
glucose.
for weight loss.
No, but because at the time it was just approved for type 2 diabetes and glucose. So
Interesting.
then when like Ozempic, Wegovy, all of a sudden these drugs help with glucose management, but they also have really pronounced weight effects.
That is so interesting.
Yeah.
That is so interesting.
And social media and celebrities.
That
kind of shoots the trend up.
Of course, but I mean, it does work, right?
yeah.
It's like, so what do typically people experience? Let's say they start an Ozempic or Mounjaro or whatever.
Yeah.
There's so many drugs in that space now. What do they typically experience? Like, how many months do people take it? What kind of weight loss can they expect?
So on like the lower dose of Ozempic, there's a weight loss about like 4 to 6% of body weight over the first 6 months or so. So I think it's my notes. I think it's Mounjaro it's Wegovy. I'm sorry. Wegovy is a higher dosage of the same drug as Ozempic, and on that one, people lose 15% of their body weight, which is a huge number. Usually that's over the course of a year, a little over a year, but it's a really, really pronounced weight loss that people can experience.
And it really, I mean, so when people are boosting their GLP-1 levels, but in the case of Ozempic is a bit different, right? What it does is like your body thinks your levels of GLP-1 are higher. Is that correct? Because you're not injecting yourself with GLP-1 directly, are you?
No, you're not injecting yourself with GLP-1, but it's going to increase your levels of GLP-1 that are released when you eat. Plus, also your baseline levels of GLP-1 are higher.
Yeah.
So that means that you are releasing more insulin. Your body is decreasing the release of glucagon, which when you decrease that, it decreases the amount of glucose that's released. There's a little bit of an effect through the brain with telling your hypothalamus that you need to eat less. So there's like direct effects like in your gut, and then also how it affects your
So
brain
that signal
regulation.
then regulates your appetite, basically.
Yep.
And how about metabolic health?
Yeah.
What do these GLP-1 drugs do for you?
Yeah, so when you have lower levels of blood sugar, both like at baseline and then also when you eat, we've talked about the curve of glucose that goes up and your body releases insulin and brings it back down. The GLP-1 is making sure that you have both less glucose in your blood and also that you are more efficiently and more effectively releasing insulin to temper that response then. So that's where for people with type 2 diabetes, pre-diabetes, it has a really, really impressive metabolic effect by helping with that glucose regulation so that your body is more effectively using it so you don't have a lot of those side effects like that people experience.
Let's
with
talk.
diabetes.
Let's talk about the side effects as well a little bit here,
Oh,
because
yeah.
I do think.
Yeah.
So you always have that. There's a huge trend, right? So everybody's now taking or looking into taking a GLP-1 drug, and then I'm like RA. My question is, people who take a GLP-1 receptor agonist, that's the correct term, isn't
Yeah,
it?
the technical term, yeah.
What do they experience? What are the side effects that they typically experience?
Yeah, so it can be rough for a lot of people, mostly experiencing GI-related symptoms.
Such as?
Nausea, vomiting, cramping. Dehydration is really common in people, especially when they start taking one of these drugs. Some people continue to experience it. It can be pretty rough on people for
And
the
is
first
there
little bit.
anything that they can do? Like, are there any diet changes or any
yeah.
supplements one can consider to make those side effects less painful?
Yeah, so a lot of dietitians are recommending that people take electrolyte drinks
Okay.
to help with improving their hydration. So instead of just water, making sure that people are also getting like potassium, sugar, sodium to really help with rehydrating themselves.
Yeah.
Also making sure you take a multivitamin, vitamin D, because you're eating less, and especially if you're vomiting, if you're like throwing up, you're not necessarily getting a lot of nutrients that you need.
Okay.
So it's also important to make sure that you're, kind of like covering those bases, because people can also experience things like hair shedding and hair loss. If you're not eating enough protein, you get a lot of lean muscle loss, which can result in, like, people talk about Ozempic phase.
Well, Ozempic phase, it's a whole other question I
Yeah.
had. That was trending. So with the trends, is that the protein loss that causes what it's called, what people refer to as Ozempic phase?
Yeah, because you're losing lean muscle, and you're also, when you lose weight really quickly, your skin, as you get older, unfortunately, you don't have the same like elasticity.
Interesting.
So your skin doesn't bounce back as much.
Okay.
So even like collagen peptide supplements, hyaluronic acid, vitamin C can help with retaining a little bit of that
So basically, let's
elasticity.
just get a lot of nutrients in because you eat less, and let's make sure that you want to boost those protein levels in your body, but also make sure you get your vitamin C for your skin health,
Yep.
your collagen, and for an upset stomach. Is any remedy you can recommend for an upset stomach or not?
Yeah, it's a tough one because a lot of people, what they experience is like rapid gastric emptying. So having fiber, like more bulky fibers, will help with that.
When you say that they experience rapid gastric emptying, you mean
Yes.
diarrhea?
Yes.
Okay. Good. I'm just trying to I was
Yeah.
trying to put those three words in my head together. I was
Yeah.
like, where's this going? Okay, good.
Yeah, and even like probiotics can also be really helpful
Okay.
because you're changing your diet, and when you change your diet, your microbes are having to do different things, work on breaking down different types of food. So probiotics can also be very helpful.
Okay, that's super helpful.
Yeah.
And let's talk about about people who are looking for an alternative, or let's say
Yeah.
they have now lost their weight, they would like to maintain a healthy weight level, right?
Yeah.
What are the tips you have for them when it comes to like, maintaining the weight, or if they're looking for an alternative to a drug? What can one do naturally to boost GLP-1 levels?
Luckily, there's a lot of things that you can do. It's not necessarily going to be the same as taking the drug. You don't see that really pronounced effect, but there are some interesting sort of alternatives for people who are looking to lose, maybe not 15% of their body weight, but looking to lose, a few pounds or something like that. Or are looking to improve how their body metabolizes glucose and fats.
Yeah.
So there's supplements like berberine. Our Best of Berberine supplement is really great at that. Lifestyle changes, we know that having more lean muscle, so doing more strength training, making sure you get plenty of protein is also really helpful with the way helping your body to improve your metabolic health and metabolic function, especially as we get older. And then making sure that you're eating, a good varied diet. I know I sound like a broken record a lot of times, like plenty of fiber, healthy
Well,
fats.
let's talk about fiber, because I think fiber
Yeah.
is such an interesting one, right? There are fibers that can boost your GLP-1 levels naturally, right?
Yeah.
Like by how much? I'm just curious, and I want to know everything about this. But let's start with the basics here. So
Yeah.
what can fiber realistically do for you?
Yeah, so I mean, there's lots and lots of health benefits of fiber. We know that it helps with all sorts of, disease prevention,
Yep.
and it's a fantastic thing. And when it comes to this like metabolic health space, what we know is that there's certain types of fibers, like resistant starches in particular, or prebiotic fibers. When they get into your gut microbiomes work to ferment it, and they release short chain fatty acids. And these short chain fatty acids stimulate these same cells in your gut that release GLP-1.
Okay.
So there's sort of a twofold benefit.
Tell me more. I'm
Yeah,
all
so
ears now.
like butyrate, for example, is one of these short chain fatty acids, and when it's kind of like going around in your gut, it will help to naturally release more GLP-1. It also acts as we call it a substrate, but like a food for the cells in your colon. So it's doing a couple of things. It's helping your gut to be more healthy, helping your gut microbes be healthier and having better diversity of them. It's helping with regularity. And then again, like these resistant fibers and prebiotic fibers are really great for that GLP-1 boost.
So prebiotic fiber, and by how much can they stimulate? Because I think there are some clinical studies out
Yeah.
there where certain types of fibers have been studied to increase GLP-1 levels. Give me some sort of idea of like how much they can actually achieve.
Yeah, it varies by the different type of fiber.
Yep.
And it varies also, like, again, there's a curve, right? So after you eat some of these fibers, it starts to go up and, you start to release GLP-1. It's like one fiber in particular, it results in a twofold increase.
So it
Other
doubles.
than- it doubles your GLP-1 release.
And how
exactly.
quickly does that happen? Are we talking days, hours?
2 hours.
2 hours. So
Yeah.
it works really, really quickly, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And then when do you recommend people take this fiber, right? Because obviously you can take it on its own, you can take it before a meal, you can take it
Yeah.
in the afternoon, between meals, right? I'm just curious, like, if there's, is there like a sort of like, I would say, a common viewpoint around this is the best time to take a fiber if one
Yeah.
wants to manage weight, really? I mean, that's really the question that I have in my head.
Yeah, I mean, I always tell people if, with like fiber supplements, take it when you remember it is always, one of the most important things, because we want people to,
Yep.
have a habit and to continue taking it for those benefits. Like resistant starches are really good if you take it with a meal, because it's going to help with increasing that GLP-1 release even more so than you would have if you didn't have that fiber
I
with
see.
that meal. And it also then is going to help you feel more full and increase your satiety for longer.
And would you have it 30 minutes before a meal or right with the meal? Because you mentioned that your GLP-1 levels double, right, in that time frame. Is it so? What's if for a sort of like perfectionist out there, when should one take that fiber?
I would say for the perfectionist, take it with your meal.
With them, just in the beginning, basically, and that will already reduce my appetite.
Yeah, it'll start to reduce your appetite, like for that meal in particular, and then it will continue also for hours afterwards.
make you
so you'll
full-
feel
I see,
fuller
okay.
faster.
That makes sense.
Both with the meal that you're consuming, and then you'll have a greater feeling of satiety. You'll feel more full longer.
Yeah.
And so there's a nice little curve that tail on that curve that people continue to feel more full for longer, which again is really great then for people looking for weight loss or weight maintenance. So you're not,
And
jonesing for more
how
food.
much fiber? You mentioned prebiotic fiber. Like
Yeah.
any minimum recommendations on grams that one needs to take to get those effects?
Yeah, so in general for women, the recommendations is 28 grams of fiber per day. Different types of fiber, different amounts do different things. The resistant starches, what we've seen in clinical studies of specific types, is that the grams sort of vary, but like 10 grams
About
per
10.
day or so
Okay.
is what really is helpful for getting that GLP-1 boost.
No, this is super helpful. And I think what is so interesting about it, it's really a tool in the toolkit
Oh, yeah.
that lots of people don't know about.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for a natural way of stimulating those GLP-1 levels, right, fiber is a great way to do so. But even if you're like, let's say you were on Ozempic, you stop your treatment, this is maybe a great way of like continuing that journey afterwards to make sure you get enough fiber in your diet. And there's so many great food sources. And of course, we will probably dive into more detail around like on our wellness blog as well, like
Yeah.
what kind of fibers are best for you, etc. So you want to check that out. I think it's super helpful as well. Let's do our rapid fire.
Okay.
I have tons of questions here because I
Yeah.
think like in this space, there are just so many questions, but I think we talked about so many of them already. But if we had to summarize it in a few short snippets, let's go. So how does GLP-1 impact appetite and digestion?
GLP-1, oh my gosh, sorry, I was looking at my notes and then I lost my train of thought. So GLP-1 impacts your appetite and digestion. It works to slow down gastric emptying, which makes you feel fuller faster, so you have decreased appetite. It also is, yeah.
Okay, awesome.
That's
Are there
it.
any specific foods or nutrients that naturally boost GLP-1 levels?
Fibers, proteins, monounsaturated fatty acids.
Awesome. How are GLP-1 receptor agonists used in managing weight and blood sugar?
So they are in injectables and now also oral medications that people can take to, decrease blood sugar and increase GLP-1 levels.
Any lifestyle tips for naturally supporting GLP-1 function?
Making sure that you get plenty of those foods in your diet, that you're getting fibers, that you're looking for fibers that are resistant starches, prebiotic fibers, you're consuming plenty of protein, having good healthy fats, that will help your body naturally make GLP-1.
What are the common side effects of GLP-1 RA medications?
Nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, dehydration,
How do you call it before? You call it gastric
rapid gastric emptying.
There we go. That's I learned that today. What can one do for firmer skin, muscle mass, and soothing the stomach? So those side effects.
Yep. Plenty of protein.
Yep.
Make sure you get plenty of protein. If you want to, I recommend to a lot of people do a collagen peptide, hyaluronic acid, vitamin C. Make sure that you're taking care of that skin elasticity and firmness. And think about taking a probiotic.
That's awesome. Well, those are all the questions. If anyone listening to this has questions, just drop them in the comments below. We ask them typically, during our RD Rapid Fire segment. Jennifer, thank you so much. This was awesome, as always. I'm really excited about fiber as a potential way of boosting GLP-1 levels. And, I see you soon.
Sounds good. See you.